Hey folks, I think we're live. Let me know if you can hear me. My mic has been giving me some trouble lately, and I'm not seeing my levels at a really good level there. So can you hear me? So glad you guys decided to join me and celebrate 100,000 subscribers with me tonight. Thank you for being here. Let's see who's here. We got some folks in already. I know some folks have come in and left a comment, and some folks have dropped off. But yeah, we'll see if we can get some folks coming on in. Okay, good. You're hearing me. Thank you, Kimmy. Let's see who's here already. We got Pi Louver. I can't really pronounce that. We got Mike Bravo. Hey, Mike. Matthew Stokes. I don't know how to say your name. Celia Erdos Kelly. The Mrs. Marvel. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jean Grace, for the congratulations. And Scrappy Cat. That's a good name. Jenny L. Hey, thank you. Welcome from New York. Yeah, I should add the time zone. I didn't do that, did I? Hey, Candy. Nice to see you. Nicole from Tucson. Thank you for the congratulations. Virginia. Thank you. Hope you're here. Alcinda Trotter. How much soil should plant watermelon? I don't know. The deeper the better on watermelon. I grew watermelon in about 18 inches of soil, and it did well for me. But watermelon's one of those kind of plants that ought to do well. If you just give it some good fertile soil, it should do fine. I don't know if depth really matters. Those plants can really get down into the substructure of the soil. Michael Mack. Hey, yeah, I'm grateful to be collecting steam. Let's see. I won't be able to say hello to everybody. I got a lot of people. Hey, late bloomer, Kay's here. Kay, I was going to talk about you tonight. I was going to talk about channels that inspired me. So later on, and I know you're going live too, so I'll try to catch that on the replay. So hey, Lauren, how you doing? Thank you, Joan, Scott, Ohio. Wow. Is it F10434? You've learned stuff. I'm glad. That's the whole purpose for this channel, is to try to help folks garden. Deep South Texas, how you doing there? I like your channel, brother. Lauren, middle of Florida Panhandle. You're camping this week. Well, glad you stopped by, Lauren. M.E. Miller, welcome. Thank you. San Joaquin Valley. Wow, we got folks from all over tonight. Gypsy B, I'm glad you caught me live too. Hey, Kim, how you doing? Riverdale Gardens. Pushing your granddaughter on the swings. Man, there's nothing better than that, is there? Let's see here. Scott, late bloomer, gratitude. Yeah, gratitude to you, Kay. I appreciate it. Major Grey Wolf, hey, welcome. Yeah, experimenting in the garden is always fun. I like to experiment. I'm doing some experiments now with my bunching onions. And hey, my wife is on. My wife, my favorite girl in all the world. Doing an experiment now with bunching onions. I'm seeing how well they grow in potting soil versus in the ground. And so we'll know about that later. So yeah, Simplified Gardening. Hey man, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. Kathy Perry, thank you. Susie A, Michael MCC. Wow, lots of people here tonight. I don't have my diagnostics, or let's see. I've got 37 likes. 77 people are looking on this. Wow, welcome y'all. I'm so grateful. Welcome from Arkansas, Virginia. Nice to see you. Lots of folks, lots of names I recognize. Hey, this live stream is just when I hit one of my milestones, I like to just have a live stream to kind of celebrate and just thank you all for your watches, your views. My garden channel has been it's been growing like crazy, and it was just a couple of videos that really kicked it off back in 2017 and kind of got me on the radar. And then last year, I tell you what happened. Last year, I was at about 50,000, 45,000 subscribers, and YouTube picked me up as a creator on the rise. And that means they put your videos on their homepage. So when someone comes to a YouTube homepage, your channel is featured there for 24 hours. And man, I got more views that day than I've ever got. So yeah, it was crazy, man. I got a whole lot of subscribers out of that, and a lot of subscribers that really stuck. And then this year, we had our big freeze in Texas, and I did a video expressing my opinions about where I had failed to prepare properly. And man, all the preppers picked that video up, and I got more views on that video than I'd received in a lot. So that one really went viral, and there was a lot of good comments in there. A lot of people understood the purpose of that video was to encourage us to think about how we can be prepared for natural disasters, and how we can look at what we did and evaluate how we did well and how we didn't do well. And so that was the spirit of that video. But a lot of these prepper forums, it got posted on several prepper forums and over on Reddit. A lot of these guys came in with a lot of really assaulting language and accusations of foolishness, and but you know what, on YouTube that kind of stuff sells. So yeah, YouTube really kind of picked up and pushed that. It went kind of viral, so that's okay. I don't mind that. I don't mind people coming in and being jerks if they're going to push my videos. So I appreciated it. Let's see who else is in. RP Hayes, welcome. 3 pots of onions growing. That's awesome. Smallwood, New York. Hey, Alice. Ryan, welcome. Jamie, you're down in Angleton. Yeah, hey, we're in the same zone. We have the same kind of stuff. Angleton. I've been to Angleton a lot. We passed through there to go visit some friends. Let's see. Galetti Guitar Tones. Thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate it. Roots, Shoots, and Garden Boots. Thank you. Ronell Bay. Hey, how you doing? Will It Grow? Welcome. Thank you. I think we did a collaboration, didn't we, one time? It wasn't a very big collaboration, but we did some. Hey, Leo, how you doing? Welcome, brother. Glad to see you here. Let's see. Lots of folks. I can't keep up. So if I don't mention your name, you understand how it is on these live streams. And if I miss your question, if you have a gardening question, I'll try to field it. If I know it, I'll try to answer. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it. But I had a few things I wanted to talk about tonight and see if you guys are interested in them. I want to talk. I'll try to give out some thank yous. I want to talk about some channels that have inspired me and to do what I do on my channel. I want to talk about how and why I do YouTube, and kind of give you just a brief little rundown of what we've done, how we've grown over the years on our channel. And if any of you guys have gardening channels, or if you want to do a gardening channel, I have a bunch of tips. People sometimes ask me, hey, give me some tips. I try to help my brother-in-law start a channel. If you want some channel advice near the end of the YouTube channel, I can run down the channel advice that has helped me, and I'll hand that out to you guys as well, because I think gardening channels and channels in general are well, I mean, YouTube's a wealth of knowledge and information. So hey, Ajay, my neighbor, welcome to you. I'm so glad you're here tonight. I discovered that there is a YouTube channel in my neighborhood. She's just around the corner, and she gardens as well. And her gardening is she's a wonderful gardener. So let's see here. Single seed challenge has failed 3 times. I'm sorry, Kimmy. My single seed challenge it looked like it was going to fail, but I think it might make it. It's just real slow. So I haven't done an update on my single seed challenge because I'm not sure it's actually going to make it. My wife's single seed challenge and my son's single seed challenge, well, they're going to have to start over. They failed. They died. So when you start a single seed, of course, you're taking a risk because, well, normally we broadcast a bunch of seeds and we get, 70% of them come up, 30% of them don't. But a single seed is a risk. But that's what makes it so fun is you're taking that risk. And when it comes up, you're excited and you nurse it up. So, yeah, I want to talk about some channels. Some of you guys have inspired me. Some of the smaller channels out there are the ones I watch the most. I don't watch a lot of the large garden channels that are really popular. I mean, I watch them occasionally, but I find that some of the smaller channels are the ones I watch. And having come now to 100,000 subscribers, it's really humbling because in the garden community, that's a pretty good number of subscribers. That tells me that there are people out there that want to see what we're doing in our kind of our small backyard suburban garden context. I'm not a homesteader. I don't do homesteading. I'm not a permaculturist, and so I can't do permaculture. And sometimes people ask me, like today, I got a question about mango trees. I can't grow mango trees because I don't have the room. But I do try to focus on backyard vegetable gardening. And this year we've begun focusing also on backyard orchard culture. We're going to grow some fruit trees and keep them small. The freeze gave me the opportunity to put in some new trees. And last year I took out some large unproductive trees. And so it's been, it's been it's been a real opportunity. And so I'm going to take that opportunity to do some long-term projects. So, Homestead Aquarius, a single seed can be terrifying. Yes, it can, because you put it in there and then you're just biting nails to see if that thing will come up. But Shelley, I like some larger channels. I like Jess at Homestead and at Roots and Refuge. But I don't watch their channel a whole lot because they're doing a lot of things that I don't have the room for. But I like to go there and just laugh and smile with them and their family. It's no secret that I reference David the Good's channel a lot. He's got a pretty good following. He's over in Alabama now, but he's been in the tropics in Florida. I like David the Good. He's actually been my mentor on taking some risks, and I've read all his books, and so he's kind of like my garden mentor. I could do a dwarf mango how to garden. I just don't think I have the room for it at the moment with all the things that I got going on. But hey, thanks, Joe, for the congratulations. I appreciate it. Joe Serrano. Yeah, you're in David the Good's chats as well. I see you all the time. But yeah, David has been one of those that's subscribed that I've subscribed to and followed and read his book. So if you don't know who David the Good is, he's kind of a quirky gardener, but he's really funny and he's a musician and I like his videos. Charles Dowding over in the UK. I've liked Charles Dowding. I don't always use his methods, but I am inspired by him. That's another large channel that I like. Training Olives. I love watching a channel that is in my general area. Yeah, it's tough, man, when you don't have a gardening channel. I watch some channels up in Saskatchewan and different parts of Canada, like Prairie Plant Girl. She's one of those small YouTube channels that I almost always watch all of her videos. But we're in totally different regions, but you can still glean from these channels. Yeah, Self-Sufficient Me, Maga Grey Wolf. He's great. He's in Australia. I've learned a lot from him as well, especially growing in larger containers. I took a horse trough and I'm growing in that as a raised bed, kind of a hugelkultur thing. And so, I learned that. I actually referenced him a lot in my research. I do like In My Gardener a little bit, but I don't really connect with the kind of the vibe of his channel or the culture of his channel, but I do appreciate the wealth of information that he gives. So I'll usually watch Luke over there at In My Gardener when I need specific information about a particular crop, and so I'll watch him as well. So I appreciate what I've learned there. There's this fella Charles over in Alabama, Old Alabama Gardener. I like Old Alabama Gardener. He's recently reached 100,000 subscribers too. The guy's like 180 years old and gets out there and works a gigantic garden. And he is a absolute wealth of information. And I've learned so much from Old Alabama Gardener. So more shout outs of channels that I enjoy. Red Gardens in Ireland. Bruce over there is doing some crazy things. And he's doing 7 different methods of gardening side by side. And so you can learn. Does the intensive method work? Does the no-till method work best for him? Does all these different methods that he's employing over there. And I really like, Bryce, I do watch Gary at the Rusted Garden. I like Gary a lot. Gary's a no nonsense, get it done, show you how to do things. In fact, I ordered some seed trays and seeds from him. So I do like him. He wasn't on my list, but I'm going to forget a lot of the channels that I'm trying to shout out tonight. But yes, Gary Pilarchik at the Rusted Garden. He's got a couple of channels that you should watch. Gary's a good guy. So let's see here. Who else? Yeah, OAG is the man, Homestead. He's the dude's tough as nails. Let's see. I like to watch Kay Cottrell at the Late Bloomer Garden. Kay is amazing because I don't necessarily watch Kay and learn a lot of gardening, though sometimes I learn I learned some things. I learned a lot. What I like about Kay is her resilience. She began later in life, and therefore she's called the late bloomer show. And she began in Los Angeles. She's an actress, and but I just like kind of the vibe of her channel. I like to watch what she's doing. Well, she had to move, and she's moved to Tennessee and is now starting over again, and is doing a big homestead in Tennessee. And so I'm really enjoying her uh, videos on how she's overcoming her challenges, her new homestead. You know, the water issues, had to run new pipe, had a big freeze. She's got deer to contend with. So I'm really interested in how Kay is going to do over there in Tennessee. So, hey, Lauren, welcome. Glad you're here. M.E. Miller, welcome. Yeah, Haas Tools. I like Haas Tools as well. In fact, Haas Tools is, I ordered some seeds from him this fall to see if I could get a sneak crop in. And then we had our epic freeze, which killed everything off. So I didn't get my Haas Tools kohlrabi to come up, but they were on their way. But yeah, another channel I like, go watch Kay Cottrell at Late Bloomer Garden and enjoy the kind of the vibe, the relaxing, just to get to know somebody who's doing some hard work. I've got a list here and I can't really read it. I like Josh Satin. I like his way of gardening. He's more of a market gardener though, but you can learn from all these. And then there's all the small channels. I watch a couple. There's a few channels that when I log onto YouTube, I scroll down my list of subscriptions, which is like 400 subscriptions long. I look for that blue dot next to several gardeners, and I like Arkansas Woodcutter. I'm going to miss all you guys, so please, if I don't mention you, but I frequently visit your channel and comment, please don't take offense. Arkansas Woodcutter, Will It Grow? I like Rachel Andorfer. She's a college student in her second year of gardening who's learning and showing you how she learns in her mistakes. I watch Rachel. Man, there's so many. I'm not going to be able to remember. Let's see if I can pull up a list of my subscriptions here on the fly. Man, this is live for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to get all you guys, but I'll call some out here. I almost always watch Cog Hill Family Farm, Charles Dowding, Dan Permaculture, Deep South Homestead, Danny at Deep South Homestead. I always watch his videos. Deep South Texas, Larry down there, he's in like zone 87 and grows stuff I can't even think of growing. Epic Gardening, I love Epic Gardening. I'm just scrolling down my list here, so I'm not even seeing what's on here. Gardner Scott, I like Gardner Scott. I try to catch his Monday morning live stream. He's a larger channel, but Gardner Scott gives real knowledgeable gardening information. You should watch Gardner Scott. I was actually on his live stream about a month ago, and that was real fun to get together with him and talk about the single seed challenge. Let's see. There's so many here. Green Greg's, Green Love, Green Shorts, DIY. I'm not going to be able to mention you all, but all of these channels have been inspiring to me, and that's how I've learned gardening. Jason Avers, I like Jason Avers. He's a down to earth gardener who does some good stuff there. Let's see. I'll quickly scroll through here and see that I try not to forget anybody, but I'm gonna forget a lot of you folks. I do watch Pete Canaris occasionally over there in Florida. I like the Pratt Family Homestead. Yeah, I'm going to forget all you guys. Ross Roddy, Scott Herbert up in Canada, the man. So there's a ton of these smaller channels, and I really hope they do well because they have valuable information. And I like Veronica Flores. She doesn't post very much, but she's the one who taught me how to prune peppers, which is the first video that ever took off for me. So let me see if I can see what's going on in the chat. You guys are going much too fast for me. Yeah, I watch Callie Kim every now and then. You know who I like? I like IV Organics. He's out in California too, but we're in such different contexts that sometimes it's hard to practice those methods precisely, but sometimes you learn something. And I actually bought his fruit tree paint stuff. It's not a paint, but it's a coating. And yeah, I like his products. So let's see here. Yeah, Callie Kim. I like her. See, her channel is one of those channels that's so produced and well produced. It's well polished that it's kind of like a TV show. And if I'm on YouTube, I'm looking for channels that are a little more down to earth. But yeah, there's good information there. She does some good stuff. Hey, Red Silo Homestead from Kentucky. Thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying the single seed challenge. Um, Diego Footer. Yeah, I watch him Oceanbound every now and then. James Prigioni. Yeah, I've got him. I'm subscribed to him. Um, Shelly, I don't know if I can leave a link to all those channels mentioned tonight. Maybe I'll try to. Um, that's rough, man. That's a whole lot of links to be dropping in the thing. I don't know if I have time to do that. If I do have time, I'll try to get to it. I do like Dan's permaculture. Yeah. Let's see. Joe Black, my gardener just rambles for 10 minutes. No, he's got good content. You gotta hand it to him. He's built a big good company and he's doing good things. But not every channel is for everybody. I mean, I don't get on and say, "Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. We've got an exciting episode." That's Luke over at My Gardener, and if you like that, that's great. I've often thought it would be kind of cool to do impressions of all my favorite, all my favorite gardeners, but yeah, I think that would kind of be offensive. I don't know. You got to know you got to know somebody's sense of humor to do that. So, the Fit Farmer Joe Black, that's a good one. Yeah, Mike is so good. They live in a yurt. He's got a wonderful family. I love his stuff. So it's good to see that. Patience, Kate's got a fig tree. Awesome. You're on a great journey, man. Fig trees are awesome. You know what? My fig trees, I had like 30 fig trees in pots in my backyard. A big freeze came. I brought one of them in, my favorite one, and the rest were on their own. I've got one in the ground out in my front yard over there. And you know what? I thought they were all goners. It got down to 17 degrees and it was below freezing for an extended period of time, long enough to kill my well-established Meyer lemon tree. So if it killed my Meyer lemon tree, I figured, well, all my fig trees are toast. You know what? Most of those fig trees are coming back. I've lost maybe 10% of them. They're amazing. I can't believe it. So yeah, I still have my fig trees to deal with, and I've been planning on downsizing, but the freeze kind of changed everything. So now I think I'm going to have some fig trees to go stealth plant out in the public spaces. So yeah. Major Gray Wolf, I don't know if you could do well in keeping a mango small. I don't know anything about mangoes, but I think that most trees you can keep small if you practice the backyard orchard culture methods that were the best channel and the best source for backyard orchard culture that I've found is Dave Wilson Nursery. They are they're doing all the experimenting for us, and we can go watch their videos. So, Ronnie, no, I don't have any advice on kiwis. Never grown them. Lulu, I'm glad to see you here as well. Yeah, so keeping deer off figs. Well, I don't have deer. I live in a subdivision, so I have squirrels that occasionally get them, and the birds like them. My dog likes figs. Unfortunately, I find her up in my pots eating figs. So yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, Kimmy, my Meyer lemon, I tried so hard. We put about 12 blankets over that, and I put a heat lamp under there, and it was doing fine until the power went out for a week, and then no heat. So yeah, the tree died. The peach tree that just had a bag over it and some cloth, it survived fine. So yeah, just that citrus is real touchy. So let's see. Yeah, Texas Janet, some of my fig trees that I thought were dead, they're budding out, looking great. So yeah, Pete Canaris might be a good mango resource. So I wanted to also kind of talk about why and how I got into YouTube and just share a little bit about my channel's history and why I'm doing this stuff. Back in 2013 is when I started my channel, but I didn't really post on it much. It was a YouTube account that I used to subscribe to people. But I'd been gardening all along, and I had a blog called Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Black Gumbo is the type of clay we have. And And, you know, I used to be the kind of person who blogs about everything. I have so many blogs. I've had 15 or 20 blogs over the years. And I have this compulsion, I think, to share what I'm doing and to teach. And I guess that's why I'm actually in real life, I'm a pastor and I teach, you know, every week. But man, I used to blog and blog and blog about everything. Everything I did, I would blog about. I still have a cooking blog out there. A Black Gumbo Southern Gardening blog is still out there, but it's not updated. I've moved over. But I tell you what, I had this compulsion to just show what I'm doing, even though, and I wasn't an expert. I would tell people, look, I'm not an expert. This is just how I'm doing it. I started doing videos with my iPhone 4 back in 2000. It must have been 2016, but most of those videos are gone now. The oldest videos on my website, on my channel now, are 2017. And that's when I earnestly started to do videos because, well, I had like 50 subscribers. I'm like, wow, people are watching my channel. And so I started documenting my garden and really seeing that people were paying attention, a few people, and that was all I needed, and just started going for it. I didn't really have any intention of making a profitable channel until I started seeing that I had over 1,000 subscribers, and YouTube had sent me the paper that tells you, hey, you can monetize now. Here's your code. And well, that sat on my workbench for several months, all through the winter. I didn't even monetize. I just kept making videos. And finally, I decided, well, hey, let's try to make something of this. And so it was in 2017 that my son and I, Sam, made a video on how to top pepper plants. And apparently that was a very controversial topic, and I didn't even know it. And that video took off like wildfire. It's got over 1 million views, almost 2 million views, I think. And that video started bringing in subscribers. And so I started trying to do better. And it was 2017 that I came up with the Black Gumbo theme song and the logo and started to make something of it. But I didn't want to make it so much that it was a highly produced, slick production value thing. I come from a creative and video background, and I can do that. I can make you a video that is broadcast quality production value, but it's a lot of work, and I didn't want to do that. I'm still shooting my garden videos on my iPhone, and I'm still editing on free software on the Mac iMovie, although I have all the suites of, you know, Premiere Pro and Final Cut and all that. It's just too much work. I want the culture of my channel to be something that people like. And apparently you guys seem to like it, that it's just kind of relaxed. We're not getting into high production value. We're just getting down to the, you know, we're just gardening here. We're just doing some garden videos. There's a little bit of production that makes you know, a lot of good editing, I think, that takes out a lot of stuff that you don't need to see or you don't want to see. You don't want to sit there and watch me plant, you know, 9 rows of tomatoes or something. But yeah, let's learn together how to plant a tomato and show it 1 or 2 or maybe 3 times. And I think it's been that's the culture of my channel that I want to keep. And I hope you guys like it. Tell me if there's anything that I need to change or anything you'd like to see done better in my videos. And I'm completely open to YouTube stuff. So yeah, the best things can be simple. I like that, Homestead Aquarius. That's what I try to do. The music, Joe Black. Yeah, some of the music I play, some of the music I use from you know, canned music, but I specifically choose kind of relaxing music. But I need to record some new music, don't I? It's been a while, and I play guitar intermittently, so my fingers are currently not ready to play guitar. I gotta work up to that. But let's see if I can go look at some questions here. Y'all are just talking amongst yourself. That means I must be kind of dull tonight. The Weedy Garden is a beautiful site. I'm subscribed to the Weedy Garden, but I haven't been a regular, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, Lulu, we're never going to stop learning. We never stop learning. If you stop learning and you think you've learned it all, then you're kind of, you need to recheck your You check your heart, man. We got to always be learning. No, I've never grown dragon fruit, gaming god. Um, I went to visit my daughter in Florida last year, and we drove into our Airbnb and drove up under an awning, and bonk, bonk on the windshield were two dragon fruits hanging down. The owner of the house came out. This was like his garage converted to a little Airbnb place. And I was looking at that dragon fruit and it snapped off in my hand. And he's like, "Oh, you can have that if you want." But no, I've never grown them myself. Um, they do grow wild around here. I've seen some over in some public spaces, but no, I don't grow any myself. Don't have the room. And a lot of what I grow, I try to grow staple foods that are popular because at this point in my YouTube channel, I want to make it profitable, right? I don't want to do a video on growing um, air air potatoes or some weird crop that nobody's interested in. I actually do try to choose things to grow and videos to make that people actually are going to watch because now I'm making some money and I want to continue to grow my channel. And the goal for me, I'll tell you one of my goals. One of my goals is to make enough money to live off of my YouTube channel so that I can decline my salary that I make at my church. And at my church, we'll bring on a second pastor and he can take over the salary portion. That's one of the visions or the goals, the dreams, but currently that's not even remotely possible yet. But who knows? In the future, that might be something that we can do. Hey, I saw a super chat. Let me go up and see. Mary H, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're so generous. Super chats are are always received well by folks who are doing live streaming because they draw attention. So thank you, Christine. Appreciate it. Patience, thanks. What about onions? Dixondale's our diamond in the rough. Michael MCC, I just planted onions today. I just planted out my bunching onions. I'm not growing bulbing or bulbing onions. I did so. It must have been last year. It was the fall of 2019 that I planted them, but and they didn't bulk up for me as I thought they would. But I did get them. I did get them at Dixondale. If I'm remembering correctly, that's the place in Texas, right? I bought starts and I had a whole bunch of them. They did well. I had a lot of onions and I pickled them, but they didn't get as big as I needed them to. This year I just grew some bunching onions, real easy. I sowed them in a seed tray, left them outdoors. They came up and now I planted them out today. So my wife says, yes, I'm kind of a big deal. Yeah. See, there's my shirt. I'm kind of a big deal. I bought this shirt specifically for this live stream. Oh man, my wife thinks it's so funny. What is my favorite and least favorite crop to grow, Kimmy? You know what? I don't like growing beans, but I gotta grow beans. They're my least favorite, and I'm not inspired by green beans. I don't like to grow green beans. I don't like to grow eggplant too much, but I probably will. My favorite crop to grow is tomatoes and peppers. I love those. I mean, tomatoes are the whole favorite of the whole world, right? Most people that garden like to grow tomatoes. So, I try different methods each year to grow tomatoes. Sometimes I'll grow them interplanted with my other crops. This year I'm planting them all in a monocrop, and I'm going to do the drop and move string trellis method. And yeah, I like tomatoes. I want to get those big tomatoes. So that's my favorite crop to grow. Let's see. Bush beans. I grew some bush beans last year. I grew some dragon tongue beans and they produced pretty well. I got a lot of beans out of them. Christine, will you grow yard long beans? Yes, I will. Yard long beans for me grow best in the summer. And so I'll start them mid-spring from seed and I'll transplant them. I've grown them in pots. I've grown them in the ground and they've done well both ways, but they attract a lot of aphids. And so I've had trouble with them really getting, really a heavy crop because I get aphids all over them. Got to deal with those. But yeah, yard long beans seem to like the heat. So if you can get them growing later in the spring, I think that's a good one. Green onions from the store, Barbie. Those are. I think they're bunching onions. I think they're grown specifically for the greens. But um, any onion that you can grow that is a bunching onion is one that doesn't bulb large. They naturally don't put on a big bulb. I have a bunch of wild onions under my Celeste fig tree that come up every year, and those are kind of bunching onions. They kind of grow like grass, and they'll put on a small bulb, but it won't be that big. So, thank you, Kathleen. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks, Jimmy. I think you're awesome too. Let's see. Will it grow? This is your final chance to pick the seed that I grow. Last chance. Will it grow, man? You need to grow one of them. There are some bean seeds that Baker Creek sells. And Will It Grow's channel is a good one too. And he's all into the Shed Wars thing, which is humorous to watch. I was going to do it, but I don't have time to do it. But go check out Will It Grow, Arkansas Woodcutter, all those dudes in the Shed Wars thing. There's a bean seed that Baker Creek sells that is like a gem style bean. It's if they when they're dry, they almost look translucent like a gemstone, and they've got some green ones and some purple ones. I'd love to see somebody grow one of those for the single seed challenge. So, Deborah, yeah, do I ever have more vegetables than I can use? If I was more responsible with my harvest, no, I would eat everything and can and preserve everything. But for example, tonight we are making roast, and I had a big bag, about 2 or 3 pounds of carrots that we harvested, and they've been sitting in the refrigerator waiting for me to do something with them. So we used one bag. I've got two others still left over, and I had to throw some of those carrots out because they'd been rotten in there. So no, we don't necessarily eat everything that we grow, but that's the goal. In terms of the tomatoes and peppers, yes, we eat all those. My herbs, we dry the herbs now, so yeah, we try to eat everything we grow. I've got 3 heads of cabbages from the winter garden still in the refrigerator in storage. They're waiting there. So yeah, the goal is to try to eat everything we grow. So let's see, what do we got going on here? I'm glad you're going to grow that one for me. Will it grow? I appreciate it. That's cool. If you can't get any of the seeds, let me know. blackgumbo@gmail.com. And I've got some that I purchased a couple years ago that I'm not doing anything with, but I don't know if they have them in stock. But if they don't, let me know and I'll send some up your way. Thank you. A Fishes and Loaves Lives. Glad to see you here. Appreciate it. David Corey, you can plant red potatoes in leaves and dirt. You know, David, I tried potatoes last year. I grew I grew starts that I purchased from Gurney's. Man, those took forever to get here. And I think once I got them in the ground, we got a whole lot of lush growth, but I don't think I left them in long enough. And we just didn't have a really good return on those. We grew red potatoes. We grew some a couple different kinds of potatoes. And yeah, I don't know. Unless I plant them in the ground and actually like hill them up the right way, I don't know that I'm going to mess with regular Irish potatoes anymore. I will be growing sweet potatoes. I have some sweet potatoes that I've got in some pots right now so that they'll make some slips, and that'll be kind of cool to grow more sweet potatoes from last year's sweet potato rootstock that we kept back. Going to grow some pumpkin pits and melon pits this year. I have a whole new area that I can do some pits in. If you follow my channel and you've watched me put my blackberries in a container and my apple tree grafts over on the side of the yard where I used to have big giant pear trees, I'm going to put some pumpkin pits over there as well to kind of be ground cover. Maybe even some watermelon. It's always good to try watermelon in our area because it grows in the summer. So yeah, Joe, I need more acres of yard to be happy too. I have a quarter of an acre lot, and most of that is taken up by house. So that's pretty much what this channel's whole thing is about, is you can grow food even if you have a small space. So Low Country Gardener, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I do. So let's see. Y'all are going too fast for me. Yeah, Texas Janet sweet potatoes. We got some good sweet potatoes last year. I grew 3 varieties. I grew a purple Japanese variety. I grew a yellow and white is kind of the white flesh. And then I grew some that I bought from the store, just the typical orange ones. And those were the ones that did the best for me. So, yeah, they were great. Yeah, David, gardening community, all the people that are, whenever you go into a gardening live chat, you can generally expect people to be downright good people, helpful people, and pleasant people to be around. So, Robert, I don't know when I'm going to start my pumpkins. Soon. It needs to be in the 80s consistently for me to really feel comfortable doing that. So it'll probably be in the next week or two. But I've got some other things to get going first. I need to get my cucumbers sown. I'm going to do some Boston pickling cucumbers, and I'm going to make a video on how to sow cucumbers. The thing is, we do the same videos every year. I've got 2 other videos out there on how to sow cucumbers, but when I do one, there's always something different, and people like them. So we're going to grow some cucumbers this year and sow the seeds directly in the soil, but it needs to be warm for them. Last year, we sowed our seed in um, March the 1st, I think, and it took those seeds a month and a half to come up because um, the soil wasn't quite warm enough, and so I'm just waiting right now. Christine Ledford, I'm going to begin putting those tomatoes up on the string. When they get about a foot tall, I'm going to clip them onto the bottom of the string, and they're just about there. I'm going to have to trim off the lower foliage. So this tomato trellising method, you drop a string down, and you put the string on. It's a string you can unroll and make it longer, and you keep about 12 sets of foliar branches at the top of it. You prune everything else off. You got a bare vine, one single vine, and so as that plant continues to grow, once it reaches the top of the trellis, you can pick the hook off the trellis, move it down, and the whole vine will literally lay down, and then it goes back up to the next section. So you keep working those tomatoes around your garden bed, and that's a greenhouse method that they use, and I'm trying to use it outdoors. We'll see if it works. I lost some of the tomatoes that I had selected for that particular trellising system. I lost them to the freeze, to the whole downside that came from the freeze. So I've put in some indeterminate varieties there as replacements that should work. We'll see. Yeah, the seed will come up eventually, unless it rots in the ground. If it's real wet, then sometimes you got to go replant. So good night, gaming god. Sleep well. Riverdale Gardens, you just start your pumpkins direct. Yeah, I start them direct as well. Problem with pumpkins here, and probably with you, is here, if I plant any kind of squash or pumpkin, I'm definitely going to attract the vine borers. And so the vine borer moth, it's a beautiful moth. They're very bright red. They've got a really bright red patch on them, so you can see them. They show up, they plant they lay their eggs on your pumpkin plant, and those eggs hatch, and the larva bores into the vine, kills the plant from within. And there's methods you can use, like foil methods. Old Alabama gardener showed me how to do the foil method in one of his videos to protect the stem. But if you get a kind of pumpkin or squash that is a Cucurbita moschata, not a Cucurbita maxima or a Cucurbita pepo, make sure you look at the scientific name and look for Cucurbita moschata, because the moschatas will, as they vine, if they touch the ground, you can put a little soil over the top of that vine at that node, and they'll root into the ground. And and I've had this happen. That's how I got pumpkins last year. What will happen is you will, when the vine borers come, and they will come, they'll kill part of the plant, and but the plant further down the vine is rooted again, and so that portion of the plant has an opportunity to support itself. And so I learned that from David the Good, growing his Seminole pumpkins down in Florida. So I tried that, and it worked out well. And I got some Kogigu pumpkins out of the Japanese pumpkin, and they're very good. So that's what I'm going to try to do this time again. And I have more area in the backyard now to do that. So hopefully we'll do some Cucurbita moschatas. Gerbian, yes, you can hand pollinate cucumbers. I've got a video on that. So yeah, just look up hand pollinating cucumbers on my channel, and there's tons of other ones out on YouTube. You want to take the male flowers and be able to identify those male flowers. And in my area, the male flowers tend to come out before all the female flowers do. Um, and so you're thinking, where's all my female flowers? Where's all my fruit? Just wait, give it a week or two. You'll start to see those female flowers come on with the little immature fruit at the base of the flower. Just take a male flower and take the pollen out of there with a Q-tip, or just peel the petals off. Go around all your female flowers and do the deed. So it works. Zone 3, man, that's like way up in the North Pole, Luis. I'm glad you have seedlings started indoors. That's always a good to be a. It's always a good way to get a head start. So, oof, needing me to spell that. Training all is what? Cucurbita moschata. It's Moschata, if that's what you're talking about. So, hey, Tia, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's there's so many comments here. I'm trying to pick up some questions. So, any of you folks who have a YouTube channel, or if you have a garden and you want to do a YouTube channel, or if you are doing a YouTube channel just to share your single seed garden, single seed challenge, let me give you some tips on doing YouTube stuff. This is what I've learned. These are the things that I've learned getting to 100,000. I wanted to share this because I've been asked so many times. If you have a YouTube channel and you want to try it, just do it. Don't worry if everything isn't right yet. Just post videos and share them, and you'll learn as you go. Later, years later, you can delete the cringeworthy videos. So, all over prepper, you started a little over a month ago. I'm glad you started. That's good. Arnulfo, I don't know what you're doing wrong. What do they look like? What does the lettuce look like? Lettuce. I grow lettuce in the winter, so right now I couldn't think of growing lettuce. So yeah, and if you're doing your channel and you don't have a lot of equipment, don't worry about it. Use your iPhone and get some free editing software. Just learn their limitations, right? You can't do some things with an iPhone. You should never use the zoom on an iPhone. Always just shoot and get closer if you need to get closer. Learn the limitations of your software. You know, some software doesn't have the ability to do some things, but most software can cut together and edit together a good video. Learn to edit. That's the main thing. Don't waste people's time. You got to learn to edit and get to the point fast. You want to cut out dead time. Cut, man. 5 to 10% of what I record gets used. I learned on actual video sets and in professional studios. I've watched professional editors do their work and learned from them. And that ratio is about right. You use about 5 to 10% of what you actually record. Also, simple transitions between scenes is best. A hard cut or a simple blur. Swirls and twists and page flips and all that screams out novice. That's cheesy. Don't do it. So let's see. Diego is king on lettuce. Hey, David, who's Diego? Joe, yeah, I like fried eggplant too. That's about the only way I like it. There's actually, Joe, there's a recipe that my mom used to make, and she got it off the back of some box of product, I think. And it was an eggplant casserole, and I can't find it anywhere. I think they used to also serve it at the local cafeterias here. Had tomatoes in it, had eggplant, had lots of, I think, some cheese. And I can't find that recipe to save my life. I found one similar, but it just doesn't quite look like it's going to turn out the same. So, yeah. So, yeah, other YouTube advice is to watch other YouTubers and channels that appeal to you and copy their method. Do what they do. You know, if you like the culture of a channel, try to replicate that in your own way. And that's good advice. You got to do what you like. Don't try to do YouTube just to copy a successful channel if you don't like that style. You have to do what you want to do. Best advice that got my subscriber count really moving was to do regular videos and posting at a regular rate. I try to do 2 videos a week. Sometimes I do 3 or 4 if it's springtime. And the algorithm will be more kind to you that way. So, yeah, if you're going to make some videos, don't just put up 10 videos and expect that you're going to get 100 subscribers. Just keep making the videos and it will eventually come to you. You got to expect a year or two to get noticed and monetized, maybe more. You have to do the time to make the dime, they say. 1,000 subscribers is the threshold before you can start making money. And then you're only going to make, $3 and $10 a month on 1,000 subscribers or so. But if you get to 1,000 subscribers, you are among the 5% who succeeded. Most people start and they don't make it that far. If you get 1,000 subscribers, you have succeeded on YouTube. And you just keep putting that content out there that you love and be genuine, make good content, and you'll grow. One thing you're not going to find on my channel is other topics. You want to keep your channel very, very specific. Keep it to one niche. There are channels that have like, okay, we're going to do gardening, we're going to do cooking, and we're going to do car repair. Okay. You're going to lose. You're not going to grow quick. You gotta focus on one thing because people come to your channel for that one thing. So keep your topic narrow. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it. Yeah, David the Good better watch out. He's about 18,000 subscribers larger than me, but I'm growing right now faster than he is. So I'm going to try to catch up. I hope to go see him this coming late spring or early summer and go check out his gardens out there and maybe have some fun. So, hey, have a good night, Luce. Appreciate you stopping by. Joe and Sue's Off-Grid Adventure, welcome. Good evening. Glad you're here. Virginia Castleman, you have the recipe? You really have the recipe? blackgumbo@gmail.com. I would love it. Appreciate it. Fishes and Loves Life. Terry has a good question. Let me scroll up and see if I can find it. What do I think about azomite on clay soil? It depends on your clay. I use azomite, but I don't use tons and tons of it. I just had a soil test. In fact, it's sitting right in front of me. And I've discovered that my garden soil is really, really low in phosphate, like significantly low. So I'm really focusing on that at the moment. My mineralization seems to be okay. Azomite is generally used to mineralize soil. Clay has lots of minerals in it already, but the structure of clay, it's a very, very fine particle, and they're chemically bonded to each other. That's why clay is so sticky, and it's hard to break clay up. And so it doesn't want to give up the minerals that are in it unless it's amended and broken up and forced to give it up. So I don't know that azomite really does that. Gypsum, David Corey says, is one of the solutions, but it's not always the solution. Sometimes gypsum can just make concrete out of your clay. More often than not, it will break it up, but it really depends. Like my clay, black gumbo clay, it's very fine, gummy clay. It's very black and dark. That means it's rich in organic material. But the organic material is so finely ground and within that clay that it's all bound up together, and it doesn't break up well. But if you can grow in that clay, and if that clay, if you have kinds of plants that can grow in it, they do really well. So yeah, I don't know that I can tell you about azomite in terms of all of its finer points, but that's azomite. I just use it mainly for mineralization in my garden beds. So Lineman has a good question, Linkman. Who's Lineman? Let me scroll back up. Lineman, do you know any good ways to prevent Fusarium wilt on peas? No, I don't. I have only grown peas once in my life, and that was this past winter, and they grew well. So I haven't really had to tackle that. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know. It seems to be probably fungal. I don't even know if it's fungal, bacterial, or viral. So I really don't have an answer for that. This is one of the areas where I want to try to be honest with people and say, hey, I can only tell you what I've actually experienced and learned. I don't know. So weeds and moss do well in clay. Kathleen, man, the weeds are incredible in clay. Purple hull peas, I grow those almost every year, or at least some variety of cowpea. Those are good summer crop here. They do great. Hey, Joy, welcome from Orlando, Orange County, outside of Orlando. My daughter lives outside of Orlando. She lives in Sanford. If you're going to do your YouTubing and you're going to do a channel, especially a gardening channel, learn about writing a good title before you actually post your video. What's most important when you post a video is a good title and a good description, because that's what the algorithm is going to read. It's good to show up higher in the list of subscriptions on all your subscriber channels. I show up because I use my first name as my YouTube channel name. I show up way down low, but if I could do it over, I would name my account Black Gumbo Southern Gardening, and I would show up in the B's because it's alphabetical. So, but it's not good to change midstream. Let's see what else. I'll answer some questions in between YouTuber tips. How is Lucy the lemon tree? Tiffany, Lucy is dead. Lucy's not going anywhere for a while, but Lucy is dead. My wife was out there pruning on Lucy a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, and it just looks like we've lost Lucy. So I'm going to have to cut Lucy down and plant Ethel next door. Yeah, that was a producer, man. That was a great lemon tree. We got hundreds of pounds off of that tree, and this year we still have tons of stuff that we've put by from Lucy. Yeah, so Lucy died. I think Lucy didn't make it. I'm going to give Lucy another month before I do the final chop and see if any sprouts come from the trunk or the heavy branches down by the ground. And if they do, that's great. Lucy will go right back. But Lucy was a Meyer lemon tree, impossible machine. Lucy grew so many lemons. It was incredible. Buckets and buckets of gigantic lemons. And we loved Lucy. Would you please show more how to eat the food you cook and that you grow, cook, can, etc.? Hey, Pam up church, thank you for that request. I'll try to. Here's the problem. I have to treat those cooking and canning videos as kind of filler videos. And the reason is because, like I said, I'm trying to be focused on gardening because that will keep my channel growing. And if I start doing cooking videos, they don't perform real well. And that tells the algorithm there's something wrong. So yeah, I will when it makes sense to do that. Like I made sauerkraut last year. We've done some cooking videos every now and then. And I've toyed around with starting a whole new channel and just cooking with the garden. I have a cooking blog, but I've really never. It takes a hit to the channel stats. And while I want to be all about gardening here and I want to do things that are fun and my viewers want, I also want to grow my channel. And one of the techniques of doing that is being very small, very thinly focused, which makes me hesitant to publish all the backyard orchard culture videos because that's not really what people are coming to my channel about. That's adding a whole new layer that's slightly outside of backyard vegetable gardening. And so those videos don't get, they get views consistently over time, but they don't necessarily get the views that growing tomatoes and peppers and vegetables in your garden get. So it's a balancing act. I'll try to do some more for you though. Bryce, have I ever used leaves as filler for a raised bed? Yes, in fact, go watch my video called Hugel Culture, and I used about 10 inches of leaves on top of a bunch of wood in a raised bed in a trough just recently. So I think if let me stop the scrolling here so I can read your question. 4x6x2 raised bed with leaves and filled about 18 inches. Yeah, 18 inches of soil is great. You should be successful. What you don't want to do with leaves is mix them into your soil. You don't want to mix mulch, leaves, or unfinished compost into your soil. That ties up the resources. As the bacteria are going to work on the leaves and break them down, and they use nitrogen to do that, and your plants need that nitrogen. So if it's just at the horizon where the leaves meet the soil, it's fine. Don't mix it together. You'll be fine. Christine, I don't know what you can grow around collard greens. If you just compost over whatever you're growing there, you should be fine. I grew collard greens in the midst of carrots, radishes, cabbages. What else did I have in that garden? Kale. I had it all together mixed in, and they did great. So if you just keep fertile soil going, you can generally use, you can can grow things together, unless they repel one another. You can usually just grow things together, even if they're heavy feeders. Potting soil brands, Tiffany, I just use Kellogg's because it's the cheapest and they have bat guano in them. So Kellogg's has been a go-to brand for me. I don't buy any of the expensive brands because all they are, if you look on the bag and on the back of the bag, you'll see that they're almost all the same. They're mostly peat moss, compost, a little bit of topsoil, some perlite, some vermiculite, and then they'll throw in some other things like Kellogg's throws in bat guano in our region. Sometimes they throw in different kinds of manures and things. Most potting soils are pretty much the same. The only difference are the ones that add slow release fertilizers like the Miracle Grow. Yeah, I just buy the cheapest one. Yeah, Angie, my wife, my beloved Lucy, nearly killed you this year with all her massive output. My wife was dealing with lemons for a month, peeling, juicing, preserving, making lemon zest, drying. Yeah, that was great. A non-grafted Meyer lemon tree can sprout from the roots. A grafted citrus will only grow rootstock. Yeah, a non-grafted Meyer tree, but ours is grafted because most citrus, if I'm going to buy a citrus tree, I want it to be a grafted tree. I don't want to grow one from seed because I want the rootstock to be grown for durability. That usually comes from a citrix. There are several other popular rootstocks. But on top of that rootstock, which will grow a tree and it will give fruit, but the fruit's like this gnarly, nasty, bitter thing you don't want to eat. But chop that rootstock off and graft on a scion wood from a Meyer lemon or a Satsuma orange or whatever it is you're going to grow. And you'll get a faster turnaround. You'll get fruit in 3 to 4 years, as opposed to having to wait for 7 to 15 years to get fruit from a seed-started tree. So if you're using unfinished compost, you want to make sure to top dress only. Yeah, Mage Grey Wolf, that's what I did this year. My compost wasn't quite finished, and so I just used it as a mulch. In fact, in a video that's coming out this week, I don't know if it's going to be in there, but it should be in there. I'll show you that I have to rake my compost back from where I'm going to put transplants in because it's not quite finished yet. Homestead Aquarius, what would be your best natural additive to break down leaves to make compost? Best natural additive to break down leaves. Urine. Really, it's all nitrogen, and those leaves are going to be all carbon. Coffee grounds, anything that's high in nitrogen is going to work to break down leaves quicker. If you're not after quick, you just leave them there, and the fungal life will break them down. But yeah, maybe try that. But anything high in nitrogen, if you get a ton of coffee grounds or a bunch of grass clippings work to break down leaves really quick. Fresh grass clippings. The problem is if you have oak leaves or waxy leaves, they take 3 to 4 years to break down, no matter what you do to them. I have oak leaves from years ago that are still there. So, Dan Permaculture, what are you doing there? You're shouting out people. Good. Did you? No, you were here earlier. I was going to say hello to you, but hello again. Let's see. A Lisbon lemon tree sounds interesting. You know, my wife came home from an outing the other day with a variegated pink lemon, so we've got one of those to grow as well. Yeah, coffee grounds do real well, Kathleen. They break down just about everything. They're really powerful nitrogen source. Blood meal too. Yep, Low Country Gardener. Anything that's high nitrogen, you can be creative and come up with high nitrogen stuff. Laura Ellen, thank you so much. Welcome. Glad you're here. I was just about to sign off in a little bit because we've been on for an hour, but I'll stick around for a little bit more. Let's see here. Hey, do you guys like my thumbnails? I need to know because thumbnails are one of the other important things on making good YouTube videos and being successful. So they're like book covers. People judge your video from your thumbnail. And you can actually track the performance of your video if it has a face in the thumbnail or if it doesn't. So that's why I put my ugly face in all my thumbnails. I don't do it because I'm trying to be conceited or anything, but YouTube people say that it works. And so, all over Prepper, thank you. Real girl, thank you. What about unused coffee grounds, like stale coffee? Would that give or take from the soil? I don't know, Fishes and Lowe's Life. I'd probably just run them through. I'd just probably soak them for a while just to be sure. I'm not entirely sure. Good night, Leo. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I do really, I love you, brother. I really do, and you know it. So I hope you have a good night. Tell your family hello, and looking forward to catching you on YouTube again. Yeah, Starbucks and other coffee shops give away free coffee grounds by the bucket, but people are already getting the coffee grounds at the local shops around here. So, Dan asks you pay attention to titles more than thumbnails. Awesome. Michelle M, yeah, chicken bedding is a high nitrogen source. Chicken manure, real hot stuff. You have to compost that. So change my background sometimes. Impossible machine, like this background here or the ones in the garden. Let me know, because this is the only background I have that I'm gonna. If I'm gonna be in the shop, I'm gonna be here. Maybe I'll do something back there. But if I'm in the garden, I only have a small backyard, so there's not much to work with. So, but if it's this background, let me know if that needs changing. Danny says he cares about the subject. Me too. Yeah. Thank you, Bryce, for the encouragement. I appreciate it. Yeah, Joy, that's one of the things I try to do. I try to make it where you can actually read the thumbnail. Sometimes I'm on my phone and looking at YouTube and can't read thumbnails because the type is too small or there's too much words on there. So, Training Olives, you're a title reader too. That's good to know. I try to keep my titles very short, but then when I watch YouTube, I actually hover over the title when it's got the ellipses, the dot, dot, dot at the end, so that I can read the entire description. So I guess I'm a title reader too. Keep the flag. Yeah, that's a Culpeper. Is it Culpeper? It's Culpeper. Culpeper militia flag from the War of Independence. It's a symbol of liberty. You don't care about title or thumbnails. Yeah. The shop background, this is just my garage. And I've told y'all before, I have another channel where I do scale modeling. Well, I used to. I don't do much scale modeling anymore. But this was also my scale modeling channel. I just shifted that way. So, yeah, short titles and clear thumbnails do impact traffic, the Mrs. Marvel. You know what? There's a guy on YouTube. If you have a channel, whether it's a gardening channel, a gaming channel, a how-to, a legal channel, whatever it is, you need to go look up Brian G. Johnson, and he is a YouTube coach. And you won't apply everything he teaches you, but you will certainly learn how to improve your titles, your tags. Tags aren't so much of a deal anymore, but you'll learn how to improve your descriptions and improve your thumbnails. And I watched Brian grow his new channel from 1 to 100,000 in like 6 months because he knows his stuff. And I've very much benefited from his advice. When I started taking his advice and applying what I learned from Brian G. Johnson, that's when I really started to grow by like 10,000 subscribers a month. So, and I really appreciate all you guys finding our channel and hitting the like button and giving us a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. So I'm glad you're enjoying it, Felix. Welcome from the Bahamas. It's just a chat, we're all friends here, talking about gardening, talking about YouTube, talking about dead lemon trees. Thank you, Deborah Cole. I appreciate it. Joe Black, your rosemary is the size of a car. You can't keep it from growing. Man, I wish I had that problem. You know what? I used to kill rosemary every time, but now I can get a rosemary plant that at least grows enough to give me herbs throughout the year. But they never get bigger than, like that as they're growing in the pot. And it frustrated me because my family would go on vacation to Wimberley, Texas every year. We'd go up to Wimberley and hang out on Cypress Creek. And there's an HEB grocery store there. And around the back of the grocery store is a retaining wall. And growing over this retaining wall for 100 yards long, cascading like a waterfall, is a bunch of rosemary. When I saw that, I just shook my head. I can't even grow the stuff, and they're out there hacking it down with a weed whacker. So I learned that rosemary, you shouldn't fertilize it. You basically should not care for it, and it will just grow wild. So that's what I do. I leave my rosemary alone, and it grows for me. So two family is good as well, huh? I'll look that up. There are a couple other YouTube coaches out there that do well, but I like Brian G. Johnson because he's quick and gets to the point. And I don't like some of the flash and speed of some of the other ones. So yeah, it's tough to grow on YouTube, but once you get going, once you get rolling, you can do it. I know poor Kay Cottrell, she's been around 55, 57, 58,000 for about a year now, and I'd like to see her grow some more. She's got an enjoyable channel, and she's really trying to grow, and I hope she does well. But you know what? Sometimes gardening and homesteading channels just kind of top out at a certain area. What I don't understand, folks, is I went online to Social Blade, which is a kind of a social media gauge tool thing, right? And I looked up gardening channels to see, well, where am I going to top out? How many people actually watch YouTube and subscribe to gardening channels? Well, I found there are some gardening channels out there over the million mark, and one or two of them over 2 million mark. And so, I'm thinking there's room to grow. So I really do plan to try to do that. Hey, Circuit, you're in Lake Charles. I'm glad you've found something useful here. Lake Charles, man, y'all got hammered this past summer. I'm so sorry for you guys. All those, 2 hurricanes in a row? Was it 2 or 3? But yeah, they were aiming right at us for a while, and they hooked right into Lake Charles. That was rough. Hey, Garden State Gardener. Welcome. Michelle MCC, if you want to start a channel, people are harsh. Yeah, people are harsh, but you got to grow a thick skin. I don't really get that many negative comments or harsh comments. Maybe 2 or 3 a month. And usually they're just jerks looking to troll online, or they're people that take offense to something. I said something, or I get a lot of people find out I'm a pastor or I'm a Christian, and they like to try to, get a rise out of me from that. And you just delete them, man. Just block them. They don't even get the pleasure of knowing that you responded. So just block them, and that's all you got to do. One thing you do not ever want to do is attack somebody's child or their physical looks. Be nice to people. Somebody got on there and started making fun of my son, Sam. And, well, you're gone. You don't make fun of my child. Make fun of me if you want, but don't make fun of my child. So, yeah, people do that. And you just have to go with it, That's YouTube. You put yourself out in public, you're going to get attacked every now and then. But, yeah, they're just people out there. They're just losers. So you just delete them, ban them from your channel. You don't have to look at them again. So, yeah, trolls aren't going to successfully bait a pastor. You know what? I have been on some front lines of some very ugly conflict. And, yeah, you're not going to offend me easily. Cassandra Berger, I'm glad you're potting up your tomato seedlings up there in New Jersey. Pleasure that you're here. Thank you. Thank you instead. Thanks, Mary Playford. I'm glad that you are joining us from Australia. Man, I wonder what time it is down there. Yeah, some people are quite terrible, Joy. But yeah, if you're in different genres, gardening people are generally usually nice. Every now and then you get some know-it-all who comes in and tells you, that you're doing it wrong. Oh, so here's a funny comment I got. I had a video on composting, breaking the compost rules. Okay, so that's the title of the video, breaking the compost rules. And the whole video was how you don't have to follow all the rules of composting. Like you can put meat in your compost, you can put cheese in there, you can put lasagna in there, you can do all these rule breaking things. And no sooner had that video gone up that a few hours later, I had this woman come on, some Karen come on about, you're not doing it right. You're breaking all the compost rules. You're not following the scientifically proved methods. And man, she was just taking me to the woodshed and going to school. So delete. It was hilarious. Didn't even read the title. Apparently didn't even watch the video with any kind of understanding. Betty, did I miss how your son's chickens did in your bad weather? Oh, they did great. They survived. He put a heat lamp in the chicken coop, locked them all in there along with the geese, and they didn't like it, but they survived just fine. Yeah, chickens are pretty resilient. And just speaking of my son's poultry, I got beat up the other day by Donald, the guard goose. He's frustrated because it's mating season, and Ivanka, his mate, apparently is not keeping him satisfied. And yeah, he came, he attacked me and flapped his wings real hard, bruised up my shins. But he's been attacking everybody lately because he's just angry. He's permanently angry. And so my son said that he went out there yesterday and had to deal with Donald. So he picked him up. So the thing about Donald, if you pick him up, he gets real relaxed and chill because he can't believe that you had the arrogance to pick him up. He rules the place, right? Yeah, so he held him for about 10 minutes and just walked around and told him, you're not in charge here, Donald. Put him back down, and Donald did the walk of shame back to the chicken coop. And so that's how my son teaches Donald who's in charge. So never put heat lights in chicken coops. Chickens love cold weather. Yeah, well, these chickens needed some warmth in there. So yeah, take that up with my son. I don't know about chickens, but it was 17 degrees for an extended period of time, and these are hot weather chickens. But I know that the geese, the kind of geese that Donald and Ivanka are, they're Chinese geese. They're not cold tolerant, actually, beneath like 25 degrees. They don't handle it. So we did the research on the geese and kind of tailored to them. So speaking of trolls, you have to watch out for the religious vegans. Yeah, they want to let you know they're vegans. Dan. Art and Bree. I think I've watched Art and Bree. Aren't they the ones that Art and Bree? Are they the ones up in no, they're in the Carolinas. I'm thinking of someone else. There's a couple that lives way off in the wilderness off grid in like Canada somewhere. And I had to unsubscribe from them because she likes to show a little much skin, and I find that distasteful. Mary Playford, yeah, compost Karen. I had a compost Karen. I would compost her too if she came around, but she'd probably ruin my soil. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. I try to be down to earth. Some people say I can be a real jerk, but I ban them. Well, hey, folks, it's been over an hour, so I'm going to check out of here and go eat some roast and some carrots from the garden in just a moment. So if you have any last-minute questions, drop them in there. And I really appreciate you stopping by tonight. I really do appreciate your subscriptions. I really appreciate your views. But most of all, I appreciate getting to know you folks in the comment sections and watching how the banter goes back and forth. Man, that's so rewarding. And that's what I want to continue to foster here, the community, kind of the laid back, just let's get out in the garden and talk together. So yeah, I appreciate it. So thank you all for your congratulations. Yeah, Louise, you watched that video on breaking the compost rules. Yeah, she made sure that she was telling me how wrong I was. All right, folks. Thank you. Oh, one more question. Sister Marcel's backyard garden. No, I've never grown sweet bay laurel. I wish I could answer that, but I've never grown it. Yeah, cinder block beds. I'm glad you decided on that. It's actually, I love it. I love the fact that I can flame weed and not burn my borders down. She talks with trees. I didn't say hello to you, did I? So I say hello and good night. So thank y'all for joining us. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. And thank you for joining me here tonight. And on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening, we're going to have some videos coming up this week on how we're going to proceed with spring. Hope you'll tune in. Thanks so much. Y'all have a good evening, and I will see you next time.